So, by popular demand, we are also going to be recording the show via video so we can cut the show for you. Try to, at least. We're getting better at all the technology things that we're trying to do on the show. So we're going to try to continue to upgrade the technology for all the folks out there. So if you're watching on Periscope, we greatly appreciate it. I'm trying to do 2 screens at the same time while we're trying to record the video. So bear with me. I'm going to do the best that I can to make sure that we give the listeners and the people watching on Periscope the best possible show. We are having a few technical difficulties with Blog Talk Radio again tonight for some odd reason. I don't know why. The studio is freezing up currently, and I am trying to work patiently to get it. Stephen, if you are in the studio, if you're not locked up, could you bring Bill on the air in a second, please? I am so sorry, folks. I do not know why it's doing it, but you know what? We fight through it because that's what radio is all about. We continue to fight through it every time. All right, so let's see if we can get this up. While we're waiting for the studio to come up, let's talk a few things about what's going on with, we're going to talk about presidential politics tonight, talking about some Bernie Sanders stuff, some Donald Trump stuff, of course. We're also going to be talking about, in just a few moments, the shooting that happened in Virginia this morning. Very tragic situation. I saw the video, didn't want to see it, but in order to give you the best possible take on what's going on, I had to watch it. Completely disturbing on that. Maybe we are having technical difficulties. It is freezing up once again. Sorry about this, folks. Thanks for the hearts. We appreciate it. We're not going to cut the Periscope tonight. I think we're going to try to go all the way through because I'm going to actually post the video to the website, brownreport.com. Hopefully tonight we'll get the entire video of the show up and running tonight. And looks like we are, when I duck off the camera for a second, I'm going to see if we can get... Of course, folks, it was working just fine just before the show starts live. I'm not blaming the NSA or any 3-letter agencies from the government, but it is kind of crazy. All of a sudden, it freezes up. Let's see here if we can get some help here. And if all else fails, reset. And by the way, it looks like our producer, Stephen, is on his side of the Periscope. Stephen, if you're there, if you bring Bill on, my computer decided to... Oh, yeah, Internet Police. Yeah, I guess we're down on the Blog Talk Radio side. Is that correct, Stephen? Or is just my internet connection's really terrible right now?
I can hear you fine, so I'm
there's Bill. There's Bill. Hey, Bill. How are you doing?
Hey.
There he is.
I do think it's the Thought Police, NSA, everybody coming after you, Matt. So it's an exciting time. Actually, I'm sitting in a hot bunker now in Florida, a.k.a. my garage.
Yeah.
I don't want to really interrupt the people that live in my house. So I'm getting used to this kind of like underground prepper lifestyle that I have in here. I have some really cool stuff that I can utilize in case the apocalypse happens.
So you're preparing.
So I think it's just your internet, and I think they're coming on to you, dude.
Maybe so. We shall see. Or maybe it's just my computer's acting up tonight. But as soon as we went live, Bill, it decided to freeze up. But Blog Talk Radio was saying there's issues tonight, so I get it. But while I'm booting up on my end, because as the people demand, they demand the show 3 days a week because they want their daily fill of the Brown Report with all of our great co-hosts. There was a very disturbing video that came out this morning. It was pulled down. Several outlets actually pulled it down. I can't blame them. My wife actually made a post on Facebook as well about how disturbing it was. It was very disturbing to me. Of this live shot reporter and a cameraman, they were both shot to death live on TV. Here's the thing, Bill. The gun grabbers are coming out now, so we need gun control. We don't need gun control. We need control of crazy people. And here's the thing, Bill.
Gun control is not going to stop this.
No.
It's not going to stop this madness. It's crazy. It's if you want to get guns, you're going to get a gun. they take away the guns from the people that are law-abiding. The criminals are going to still get the guns. They don't care. This guy was clearly insane. He's clearly, based on his manifesto that he sent to the news media, clearly a racist. Clearly this is premeditated. After the Charleston shooting, 2 days after, he went and ordered his firearm so he can start this, madness to kill these two people. He's had a lot of HR complaints. He's accused the news reporter for being racist and saying racial slurs to him. So it's clearly they're heeding the call of the likes of Louis Farrakhan, the Black Lives Matter group, saying that you have to go out and kill somebody. So it's if they start disarming the people that, like us, I'm a legal gun owner. I'm very responsible. When they start coming after us and taking those away, who's going to be left? The ones that follow the doctrine of Louis Farrakhan, the Black Lives Matter, the criminals, the terrorists, the gangs, the drug lords, everything like that. They're the ones who are going to have the guns, and we're going to be powerless to stop ourselves. So, prevent violence against our families. So, I watched the video. I watched the original video where didn't really show anything. It was on the news media. I watched the GoPro video, and what's very hard, and it's not, it's graphic. You see her getting shot. The hard part was they had no clue he was standing there. They were so involved. She woke up this morning, kissed her significant other goodbye. I think he works at the TV station as well, and went out on the news report not knowing that this madman is going to come kill her. It was just an innocent day, innocent woman, innocent cameraman, innocent councilman or councilwoman who was, or the representative of the that she was interviewing. They had no idea this was going to happen, and you could tell that by the still frame shock on the face and the recognition, I'm sure his life is ebbing out of her, that, oh my God, this is somebody I used to work with. Why are you doing it? You can't comprehend the fear, the terror, then blackness. It's sick. It's sick. I've watched the ISIS videos. I've watched, back in the Gulf War, the beheading videos and things like that, because you want to see what evil is and know that it exists and know that our fight against evil is real and it's justified. But when you see something like this, it was horrifying. It was absolutely horrifying. And it's going to be one of those videos that's going to take me a while to get over, knowing that, her last moments was doing something she absolutely loved.
And here's the thing, Bill.
Taken away, and
these things won't stop with gun control. It gets worse. Look at England. England, there's thousands of knifings every year. These crazy people, these fanatics, these people that think someone's out to get them, they will find ways to hurt people. No matter what happens, they'll get baseball bats, they'll get crowbars, they'll get knives. What are you going to do? Ban life as we know it? That's the thing. It's like they don't realize that it's not about the guns. It's about killing people.
You're right. Go ahead, Stephen. What were you saying?
I was trying to say something earlier, and the phone totally got disconnected. I was going to say that
it's a conspiracy. They're after us.
Damn it, man. Let me just say my piece. But the thing is, me and my better half were talking about the other day. The most disturbing part is he walks up behind it, he levels a pistol at both of their heads, and then puts the knife down and then shoots him. It's disturbing to watch in general, but for you to do that and it be broadcast, I know me and Bill have seen that particular version. I don't know if you've seen it, Matt.
The one where the camera falls?
No, not the one where the camera falls. The GoPro where he was wearing from the actual shooter's standpoint.
Yeah, I saw only the shooter's standpoint. I didn't see the one where the camera fell from the live shot. I didn't see that one.
This one is, it's gun or a baseball bat or a golf club. It doesn't matter. You can't automatically jump on the bandwagon and be like, stop gun violence.
Yeah.
I'm a Second Amendment guy, and it makes it, I don't want to say, it's kind of like comparing war now to war back in the 1600s. You're not hacking off somebody's leg with a sword, you're just pulling a trigger. So I think it's, in people's minds, it's easier to do, but the act itself is still barbaric and unthinkable. So it's crazy for somebody like Hillary, well, not crazy for somebody that wears pantsuits all the time, but for most people, it's crazy to think right off the bat you're just going to blast out gun violence.
How about, if you look at our dear comrades over in China, every couple of years you'll see an incident where there's a mass machete attack.
Exactly.
People just go hacking up the elementary school kids. If people want to commit violence, if people want to kill other people, they will find a way. Gun is just, it's just like a tool. You could pick up a hammer, do good with it, protect yourself with it, or go kill somebody with it. Same with the firearm. Those that are legally responsible adults or firearm owners that have guns and pistols, whatever weapon that you have, know that you're in the control of a weapon that can cause harm. And as a gun owner, there's nothing I would ever want to do. I would never want to be put in a situation. I never want to be able to fire that weapon other than going to target practice.
I agree with you, Bill.
The range, going ski trip. I don't want to ever be in a position where I have to use it to defend myself.
But here's the thing. We've got crazies out there now. More than ever before, Bill, we have crazies out there that just randomly shoot people. Here's the thing. Where do they randomly shoot people? Well, it's not really random, Bill. They plan these things out, I should say. But they constantly go out to places that are gun-free zones. Movie theaters, public parks. They go to shopping malls, schools, targets. So they're easy, soft targets. So even if you ban guns, it's not going to stop them. Like you said, in China, machete attacks. There's knife attacks in England. I think it was about over a year, within 2 years ago, where that English army, I guess he's in the army, he got murdered by Islamic terrorists right on the street with a knife, and he beheaded him on the street. On the street, and I'm like, I hate to be in England because they have really restrictive gun laws. So instead of shooting people up, they just stab them to death. And that's the thing. Crazy people, fanatics, will always find a way to try to induce terror. And this guy, this ex-employee of this TV station, he wanted to induce terror and hurt people that he felt that were hurting him. He got fired for a reason, folks. He was apparently crazy. He was, from what I've been reading, from what I've been gathering so far, Bill, is that he had some real issues. He was calling people, he's saying people were racist against him, but apparently these were false allegations for what's being said. So apparently he was the racist when it all ended up. But he's so crazy. He posted this stuff on Facebook before he tried to take his life, and he couldn't even do that right. He ended up being taken to the hospital and eventually dying there from what was being reported.
And representative from the TV station that he worked for, there was a lot of violent anger inside of him during his termination.
Yes.
They had to call, law enforcement to escort him out of the building.
Yeah.
So it's somebody that, a minority group of people that are crazy, not a minority like, ethnic minority, but a small group of people that are hell-bent on wrecking terror, causing harm, killing people, should not be the reflection of the vast majority of those who own firearms. And one thing, Matt, I do recommend, I've listened to Sean Hannity, Glenn Beck, watch the GoPro video and just see the calculation. You can't see the killer's face. You just see the walking and them reporting, not even knowing. And my wife, who has worked in radio stations and things in media, watch watching them, I said, how didn't they see this? Because at one point in this video, the killer is probably about 3 feet away. It looks like a Glock to me, the way the thing's set up. The firearm looks, the handgun looks like a Glock. It's pointed right at her, like 3 feet away. Cameraman doesn't see it. The interviewee doesn't see it. The reporter does not see it. Like Steven said, drops the hand down, steps back a little bit. I don't know if he was having second thoughts, whatever. Step back up, raise the gun. As soon as the camera, and I think he timed this, so whenever the camera was panned on her, because at first the cameraman was doing some footage out on, I think it was a lake or the resort area. When he pulled it back to her, he shoots her. And the realization of her face is something that people, I mean, you have to watch these things, and I don't recommend, kids in the room and things like that, but you have to know that evil is out there. Evil is winning the day. When we took God out back, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and now till now, evil has replaced God. So these kind of things we have to be aware of and be cognizant and recognize that, yes, there's sick people in this world, and we have to combat that. And hopefully they don't put the iron fist down on the citizens that are law-abiding, and the criminals are still going to run free and still kill people, and it's not going to help anybody.
Yeah, I think
it's going to be a worse situation at that point anyway.
Yeah, I think Steven's got a comment. Steven, what's up?
Bill, I think you're right 100%. I don't think they're going to drop the hammer on lawful gun owners. I don't think that'll happen because of this. I think a lot of people clearly see this guy as he's mentally disturbed. He's had a lot of issues. He's always said that they're, persecuting him or treating him different because of X, Y, or Z, because he's black or because he's gay or whatever. But a lot of the people, even the general manager of the news station that, the reporter worked for, said that when they let him go and terminated him, that he had a lot of problems. He was given advice and coaching and help, and he didn't want to take it. He had a short fuse, and I'm on the fence to say that this guy was evil because you're either absolutely disturbed, you're out of your mind, or you're pure evil to go up to somebody and shoot them in cold blood, especially on TV, on a live feed. And, my question is, how did he know where they would be at? How did he know it would be a live feed? How did he know this was going to be shot?
Well, he was a reporter. He was a reporter for the station, so he probably knew the ins and outs. And she was probably a morning time reporter anyways. And they knew that he was recently let go. So he pretty much probably had an idea of what was coming up.
Like 2 years ago.
How about this? I mean, this would be easy. You watch the 6 o'clock news. What do news stations do? They tease. So, hey, coming up next.
Yeah.
Coming up soon, we're going to have a story of blank. Or Allison's going to be interviewing X at here. Watches it to 6 o'clock. The shooting happened at 6:45. He's in the area, knows exactly where they're going to be.
Evil finds a way, guys.
So
that's what it comes down to. Evil people find a way. They always find a way to try to install. They try to terrorize us, and the best way to terrorize somebody is through media. And I'm sorry, folks, that we're having to talk about this tonight on the Periscope app and on Blog Talk Radio. But we need to talk about this because we have to come to grips with this in our society. This is happening. We must address it. There is evil out there. If we do not acknowledge the evil will win. And that's the thing. We don't need to see the video over and over again. And I highly recommend you don't go around your work, where I heard some people today and some businesses were going around showing the video at work to other employees. Do not do this kind of stuff, people. Don't do this stuff.
Why were they doing that?
Because they're idiots, Bill.
Why would they show the other employees?
They're idiots. And this was not somewhere where we think it's at. I had someone that I know from a pretty large corporation say, hey, they're going around showing this video. And I'm like, don't do this stuff, folks. Don't put your job on the line because of some idiot decided to shoot people live on TV. It's not worth your career or your livelihood or protecting your children's livelihood to show this stupid video to people at your work. It's crazy. I don't recommend doing it. Don't give this guy, after his death, martyrdom. Don't let that happen. But folks, you're listening to the Brown Report. We're live. Periscope. Follow us at Brown Report. blogtalkradio.com/Brown Report. Now, if it goes down on the Blog Talk Radio, make sure to go to periscope.tv on your smartphone or your device. Click on that. It'll ask you to download the app. When you're on the app, follow at Brown Report. We're live Tuesday through Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time for a little bit over an hour sometimes. Join us. We have a lot of great topics we're talking about. We are real people. We are not fluffing this up. We're not getting paid. We're not this huge media outlet. We are real people talking about real issues on the Brown Report. I want to switch gears here, Bill, and talk about, I guess we talk about this so many times. We're going to talk about economics in a little bit, but the Shemitah Jubilee year, prophetic signs. And I keep coming back to this, Bill, because I want to tell the listeners, and I got the actual picture in front of me, so I'm going to go year by year real quick. This stuff is like, I'm not trying to scare people in like biblical prophecy or anything, but when you, or conspiracy theories, but when you look at the facts and the years and what is happening, it's real. I mean, we're looking at history. If you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. And this is what's happening before our eyes right now.
Major events of the world. 9/11, you got the stock market crashes.
Yes.
They're all following the Shemitah year.
Mm-hmm.
So in the special, I think you mentioned the Jubilee year.
Mm-hmm.
This is a special year.
Yes.
This is a time for reset and cleansing.
Yes.
So the world is due for a reset.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can it be an economic reset? Absolutely. There's a lot of signs pointing. I know people are probably geeked out of their mind that the stock market went back up. There's a lot of day traders out there just boom, 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 manipulating as the price went lower to get their buys. It's raising the price up. They're making their millions. But there's nothing in place. There's nothing in system in place to prevent the collapse. Everything is shaky right now, and as we get closer to September, everything's pointing toward mid-September. You got a lot of events coming up in the Jubilee year, in the Shemitah year, that point toward some sort of reset. Now, in past, there could be war. A lot of times it's economics, terrorism, economic systems, the IMF and things like that were all created during the Jubilee years. Big events happen during this time. So it's going to be interesting to see, and scary as well, but those that are informed, those that are prepared, understand that whatever happens, I feel comfortable to weather through it.
Yes.
I talk to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of my associates that I know, friends, relatives, that have no clue, zero clue what events are going on and what the importance of this year is. And looking at the puzzle pieces that are falling into place around the globe, that's going to bring about some sort of catastrophe. Now, there's a lot of conspiracy theories about an asteroid, comet. I call that bunk. That's not going to happen.
It's an economic
But
collapse.
it's going to be something more it's going to be intangible that's going to hurt. And it's going to hurt individuals and families and countries. And the big signs are economic. So I think we're due for something that's going to make 2008 look like Disneyland. The last few days where the market was going down, China's crashing down, that's just a little taste, but it's not happening yet.
Yeah.
We might see some rises. We might see the stock market go up even more. I'm not jumping back.
But here's the thing.
I have myself.
We got a 600-point gain today, but the issue at the end of the day was it didn't get back the losses. People are like, "Oh, great day." No, you didn't get back the losses you got for the last 3 days. So
we're still upside down by a long shot.
yeah, we are.
It's a crap day.
Yeah.
It's crappy.
Well,
we're in the crapper.
okay.
It's going to stay
Yeah, let's talk about. I want to get the economic side in a few minutes, but I want to give the viewers and the listeners tonight, tell them about the history of the Shemitah. It's every 7 years. There were some years it was off, but it didn't really have anything major. But 1917, World War I market crash. We're like in 1917. It was also a Jubilee year. It was the Balfour birth of Israel. 1924 off year, nothing there really. 1931, we had a market crash. 38, market crash. 45, end of World War II. 52 and 59 were kind of quiet years. 66, start of the World Trade Center. 66 to 67 was a Jubilee year. Jews regained Jerusalem. 73, oil shock. 80 was a hard recession. 87, market crash. 94, bond market crash. 01, 9/11 occurs. We had a market crash that year. 08, market crash. 2015, we're here. Jubilee year, Shemitah year, same time. Not trying to scare people, but you got to understand history. These things happen every 7 years. Then you get into the Jubilee, and it's very concerning if you really know your biblical prophecy stuff. Really concerning stuff. Not saying the market's going to crash because of a Shemitah year, but in a little bit later, we're going to be talking about that. T-Mobile 88 on Periscope says, do you think we'll still see a spike up before the crash? Bill, Stephen, we saw a spike of 600 points today, right? But it doesn't mean it's...
Well, that was amazing. I was so excited to jump back in. No, not really. I'm going to call it. I'm going to say it's a dead mouse balance. It's going to go up probably another 500 points. By the end of the week, it's going to tank. It's going to shit the bed. It's going to be bad. And I know some of us here on the Brown Report disagree in some form or fashion with that possibly happening. But Bill, what do you think in conjunction with a Shemitah year and this happening this year?
It's not going to happen this month. I mean, you're going to see some fluctuation. Now, I'm not a financial advisor.
I'm not either.
Going by my gut. I'm going by my gut. And it's going to go up. This is artificial money that's being traded right now. It's going to go up as people are buying. As it drops, you buy, and it's going to raise up. They're going to sell. It's going to drop. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, it dropped again. They're going to buy. It's going to go up. But there's no system in place. We're at zero interest rate. China's trying to do some measures, maybe printing some more money. They're going to be doing some quantitative easing. But as you flood the market with more monetary, that's going to weaken, the currency. So as this rises up and drops, there's going to be something that's going to happen. I don't know what it is going to be, but there's going to be a shock somewhere within the next probably 30 days, because right now it's the 26th. Everything's pointing, if you're looking at all the websites that talk about the Shemitah year, that the 23rd to the 26th are going to be the rough patch. Sometime in September, the house of cards are going to fall. I hope to God it doesn't. Hopefully this is just conspiracy and things, but if you look at history, something's going to happen. You got the Pope coming in, who's going to be addressing the UN General Assembly, bringing in their new Agenda 21, which is the big thing about the environment a few years back. But it's going to be, I can't remember the name, but something 2050, where it's going to be basically calling for global governance on economics, environment, political infrastructure, social infrastructure, where people, like Agenda 21 talked a lot about population centers and urban environments and, crop yields and things that are dealing mainly with population control and also how the resources of the planet are going to be dispersed. That was about 10, 12 years ago. This is going to be times 50.
Well, here's the thing, Bill. You brought up Agenda 21, which is a UN thing. Now we're getting religions involved. Now we're getting the Catholic Church involved. Over 1 billion Catholics. I mean,
there's no reason the Pope needs to be there.
No, not at all. Not at all. But there's been things said about this is the last Pope. I mean, this has been like a religious prediction. You can look it up to the last pope, and you can probably come up with our current pope right now in the Catholic Church. This is the dangerous part when you get governments and religions together, especially a one world government. They're going to. It's not even Islam. It's not really the threat. The Pope is in on this right now. So between all the things that are going on, all the instability is kind of crazy. But I want to switch gears real quick before we get into the economic side. Huge story that came out a few days ago. We know about the explosion that happened in China. It was like epic. Like this thing looked like it was a mini nuke that went off in China's fourth largest city. Then a few days later, a major explosion happened on a U.S. military base in Japan, and there's been some conspiracy theories going around like this is some kind of sonic weapon, some weird stuff. I don't think
weapon from space. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think that one, the Chinese are going to tell you the truth. Give me a break. They're not going to tell you the truth what really happened there, but they thought it was some kind of maybe a weapons manufacturing facility, some facility that was in the middle of a city. I mean, I guess if you're hiding in a weapons facility, hiding in a major city around buildings, and maybe you won't get caught. But I don't know what it really was. It looked like there was fireworks coming out of it. Maybe it was a fireworks factory. Who knows? But it was a major explosion.
The main explosion was pretty impressive for a few kilometers out when those windows were
You could see it from space.
Pretty impressive.
They had satellite images of this explosion. I mean, it was impressive. I mean, that thing flashed like a white light of like a nuke was going off. That's how powerful this.
It was only 20 tons. I couldn't even imagine a kiloton or 100, megaton bomb going off.
Yeah, this thing shook an entire city. So when this went off, a couple of days later, you got this thing happening in Japan, and they're saying, "Oh, the Chinese are going after us in Japan." I highly doubt it. I highly doubt that something like that would happen. The Chinese need us right now. They need American dollars. They need us to continue to buy their products. And we're talking about a little bit more in the economic side. But I just want to tell the folks out there, don't worry. We're not getting in a armed conflict with China. They're not getting an armed conflict with us. We need each other right now. And when we don't need each other, that's when I'll be really concerned. But these explosions, I think that they are not necessarily related. Terrorism, maybe. But and Bill, you can probably speak to this. I honestly do not think that the Chinese are getting attacked by militant Islam.
Yeah, I lean that both of these incidents are 99.99999 to the nth degree accidents.
Yes.
Anytime you have a large facility with tons of machinery and chemicals and things of that nature, things break. There's human error. So I'm looking, I don't prescribe to the kinetic weapon that the Pentagon launched from space, this huge titanium rod that pounded into the middle of the Chinese factory to blow it up. We would not do that.
No.
It would be stupid to do something like that. Like you said before, China does need us. And the key that you're going to have to look for from China, if they're going to be really serious and want to become the global financial leader, is whenever they start dumping our debt. If that happens, game over.
Well, Bill, in a few minutes,
that could be a possibility.
They are already dumping some of our debt because they need some cash. So there is some debt dumping.
If you're talking about a large scale, there's no gold reserve. Like back in the day, everybody gave us gold. We held the world's gold and we gave them dollars. There's something of value attached to it. When we left the gold standard, it's just paper and numbers. It's digital now, not really worth anything. So if they get to the point of dumping the rest of it in other countries, Russia, those are aligned with China, Russia, those countries, if they decide to start manipulating currency in that way, there's going to be a lot of pain here because we're going to be like the Weimar Republic, pushing around wheelbarrows to go buy a soda full of cash. But I don't prescribe to any of the conspiracy theories that we're in some hot war with China or some covert war with of the major powers. We're too smart. China's too smart. Russia is too smart to get into that sort of confrontation.
We're too connected.
With each other.
We're too connected right now to do something like that.
I don't ever foresee it. If we're talking about like war and things, I grew up. I'm mid 40s. I'm 45. Going through the 80s. The bomb. But I don't ever see a major power such as U.S. and China, U.S. and Russia, ever going to that sort of conflict. Now, if there's a conventional war battlefield, there might be some tactical stuff on troop level. But once once the balloon goes up and missiles are flying, they know they're going to all die. We know we're going to all die. So it's not going to be. That's something I'm not concerned. It's going to be more economical, economic warfare, technology warfare, cyber warfare. Shutting down power plants and things of that nature that are going to cause the main issues in the future. Now, Iran gets a bomb, gives it to the terrorists, sure, they might cook one off somewhere. But I don't ever foresee a full wide-scale nuclear war. Even North Korea is not stupid enough to launch their 20 or truck 20 bombs down to South Korea and let this off.
No, they wouldn't do it. It'll affect them.
I agree with you on that, Bill. 100%. I still think the Reagan mutually assured destruction idea still kind of sticks today. I don't know if that's policy anymore or what the deal is, but I think that still sticks. I think it's kind of where you kind of get into that kind of idea.
Now, we drastically reduce our nuclear arsenal. So
But you only need, think about it, you need 20 nukes. You don't need 1,000 of them. You need like 20 of them. That's all you really need to really eliminate several different countries. Think about this. I'm more scared of Iran because they don't care about mutual destruction. They don't really care. If you give them a few nukes, if they start nuking other countries, they don't care. They think that they're going to bring back their God or something if they destroy Israel and try to destroy us in the United States. You can't negotiate with Iran. You can't send bicyclist John Kerry, I break my leg because I'm 70-something years old and I ride a bike in a race. You cannot negotiate with these people. These people say death to America. They mean it. They're religious zealots. That's what they do. And if we continue to negotiate with these type of people, we're going to end up getting Israel destroyed because we are allowing them to inspect themselves. Who in the hell allows crazy people to inspect their own stuff? That's madness. That's craziness. And Obama thinks they're going to abide by this? He is nuts. He cannot be trusted. And I want this guy out of the office as soon as we can get him. If the Republicans were smart, Bill and Stephen, they would have tried to impeach this guy a long time ago. Because I'm telling you right now, if you got some Jewish senators and some Jewish congressmen, they know there's a danger to Israel. They caucus with the Democrats, but they know that there's a danger. I think if you would have drew it up in the Judiciary Committee and got it out there, they could have impeached this joker. But they got no balls. They've got nothing going for them. The Republicans are just as weak as the Democrats. They're all in it together. And I am I'm ticked, guys. I'm sorry, went on a rant. But I'm absolutely sick and tired of this. You cannot negotiate with religious terrorists. And the Iranian government are religious terrorists. Simple. Sorry, guys.
Pacification of America.
God.
We're done. Now, Iran has in their mindset that they want to destroy Israel. So let's say they nuke Israel, and Israel cooks off, launches some nukes, because I'm sure they do. We all know they have nukes. It kills 5 million people in Tehran. Who cares?
They don't care.
Iran doesn't care.
They don't care.
Because there's another freaking 500 million that will be celebrating and be solidified. They don't care. They will die for their martyrdom for Allah because they want Israel destroyed. So they want the little Satan, they want the great Satan destroyed. Sorry, Stephen, I know you were going to say something.
No, you're fine, Bill. I saw a Jewish senator. He was either a senator or a member of the House of Representatives from New York. And he was on Fox News, and he was absolutely appalled by the foreign relations policy policy that Obama has with Israel. It's insane. These people are the smallest nation in the region, surrounded by a bunch of Muslim countries, which most of them, I would say, six to seven, 5 out of 7 have members of Hamas or Hezbollah in them. You have Lebanon, you have Palestine, you have Syria, who has multiple factions, of course, supported by Iran, and other countries. And it's insane that we are totally putting them on the back burner. We're like, you know what? We'll give you a bunch of foreign aid, but you know what? Have fun dealing with your own problems.
Okay, guys, think about this for a second. These countries around Israel, they say they don't like them. And I'm not saying that Assad in Syria is a nice guy. I really honestly think he doesn't really care about Israel. He really doesn't. I think this guy is just in a really bad situation right now in his country. He's got a civil war going on. He's got ISIS. He's got these rebels. He's got so many things going on. But all these countries around Israel, I think these leaders, they don't really, frankly, care about Israel. They really don't. All they care about is keeping their power. And to keep a people happy, especially a people that are uneducated, hungry, starving, in poverty, you have to deflect off of your failures as a country to feed your people and to keep your people safe. You focus on Israel, debt to Israel, debt to Israel, debt to Israel. And they're not focusing on their own people. And I think it's the deflection. I don't think they care about Israel. They're trying to deflect and keep power. And that's the only way they can do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Hitler back in the 30s blaming all the ills on the Jewish people.
Yes! You nailed it.
It's the same. It's history. It's history repeating itself.
Yes, exactly.
And if you look back 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, I mean, you can go back a millennia. The Israelis, the Jewish people, have been persecuted since time immemorial.
Yes.
And it's just now we're getting to a point where there is a chance of complete annihilation of the state of Israel. You know, Netanyahu started inviting everybody back in. Well, come on back to Israel. Hopefully, nobody, Iran or anybody jumps off, because they know if they attack Israel. I think Iran knows that if they do, they're going to be done. So they're still hesitant, because I'm really surprised there's not a lot more stuff going on in Israel, except, you know, the bus bombings and some rockets from Hamas and things. But everything is falling into place where we need if there's a global crisis economically, there's desperation amongst the world's people. We're looking at, you know, just the beginnings of World War III. We're back, you know, we're maybe 1937, 38 right now, coming into a period of massive turmoil, and it's going to be it's going to be a rough ride, and I feel sad and sorry for the people that don't understand that.
I agree. Let's talk. Let's switch gears here. We got about 17, 18 minutes left before we hit an hour. I want to get to some economics, because this is we didn't really touch on it last night on the show because there's so many technical issues, and I'm sorry about that, folks. But I want to talk about some stuff that's I found some interesting stuff that I think you should understand. I think some of us talked outside of the show on Monday, saying, "Oh my God, the market's down 1,000 points. Oh dear Lord, it's 1 minute in. You know, is this the end? Is this the big correction?" Turned out it wasn't the big correction at that point. But I looked it up. Like, what would trigger the market to stop trading? Like it did the day after 9/11, when the markets opened after 9/11, they had to stop trading because I think it went down 600 or 700 points within just like seconds of it opening because people are doing a sell-off. So I found an article. It's on MarketWatch.com. It says, here's what it takes to trigger stock market circuit breakers. They literally have circuit breakers that will stop trading if it gets out of control. So they say stocks plunged at the opening bell, taking the Dow Jones Industrial Average down by more than 1,000 points for a few jaw-dropping moments Monday morning. So they have benchmarks in the circuit breakers. If it hits certain benchmarks, it will stop trading to stop a economic collapse. I guess you can say a panic. This is the S&P 500 is the benchmark. His circuit breakers were first introduced after the '87 stock market crash. They've been modified a few times since then. While early circuit breakers used the Dow Jones Industrial Average as a benchmark, it is now the S&P 500 that determines whether the trading will stop. So if we ever see the S&P folks go nuts, that's when the breakers would start. So they said the first one will be a 7% decline. If the S&P 500 falls 7% from the previous session's close before 3:25 Eastern, all stock market trading halts for 15 minutes. The S&P 500 set a session low of 1866 earlier Monday, a 5.3% drop. If it would fall to 1832.92 to trigger a so-called level 1 trading halt. Now it gets a little bit more complicated. A 13% decline. After stocks reopen, it would take a 13% decline before 3:25 p.m. to trigger a second trading halt, which would also last for 15 minutes. If there was a 20% decline, so let's say after a second trading halt, it would decline to 20%, a so-called level 3 circuit breaker that would take the S&P 500 to a certain point. Once a 20% drop occurs, that's all she wrote. Trading is halted for the remainder of the day. Also, the note, after 3:25 p.m., all stocks only stop trading in the event of a 20% drop. So there's a 7, a 13, and a 20% are the thresholds on the S&P 500. If you see that move close to 7% before 3:25 p.m., which the markets close at 4, that would be your sign of, oh no, this is going to get really bad. So I just want to give you a little history lesson.
And Matt, on that, I mean, I don't know if it's more of a safety net or we're about to lose our ass, buckle your seatbelts kind of situation. And I don't know. They're saying right now it may be a market correction. Maybe it needs to be a market correction. If it goes to the bottom, maybe we need to go to the bottom to work our way back up. Maybe we're in, 2008, 2009 part 2.
It could be.
Yeah, and I think the magic number they were talking about Monday was like 1,500 on the S&P. If it hit that, it would be, that's disaster territory. And the ramifications of something like that happen, rippling across globally, what would happen then the next day open? So how do they prevent? I'm curious. I haven't read too much up on what would happen if that happened to us. Ripple effect across Asia and Europe. They start falling. Our stock futures are way down. Do we even open the next day? And at that point, if the market's not opening, is there bank runs in the future? Who knows? I know people should have at least 30 days worth of cash on hand at all times, and 30 days worth of some sort of food. If something does happen where your debit cards don't work, look at Greece; they're limited to like $60 a day. How would that affect us, and how would it affect your family? So it's going to be something to watch. I don't know. I haven't looked at the futures or how China and Japan's doing this evening. They might be up. Who knows? Because we're up. They might be like, yay, everything's good and rosy, and they're going to be going up as well.
They're very volatile.
Watch in the coming days.
It's very volatile right now. And there's one other article I want to hit that we're going to talk about a little bit about what the underlying factors are. Because you have to understand, if you want to understand economics, you need to understand the underlying factors that are causing these things. But there was actually an article from CNN that they said stocks and exchange-traded funds were automatically halted more than 1,200 times on Monday, according to NASDAQ. They have this... the circuit breakers actually stop certain stocks. It's that they call it, I guess they say a flash crash, where it will crash a stock. I think we saw the most popular one was, I think, it was about 6 months ago. I don't know if you'll remember. And one of the airline stocks was getting traded very quickly. They put a trade order incorrectly, where they put in, I think they added a 0 or 2 zeros at the end of a stock. It was one of the airlines. It might have been Delta or American or something, but it caused a flash crash, and people were selling it like crazy all of a sudden. unfortunately, some people lost a lot of money because they didn't realize it was someone that put a extra 2 zeros at the end. It wasn't actually a huge sell-off. It was a human error that caused a flash crash, and they stopped the stock from being traded just for that reason.
Yeah. So, coming days are going to be something to watch for. So.
Yeah, it's definitely going to get crazy. But let's talk underlying factors here for a few minutes, Bill. And Stephen, if you want to jump in a second as well. There's some underlying factors you need to understand what's going on in China right now. China, in the past month, has manipulated the currency down again. It helps them with manufacturing, makes their goods cheaper to bring to the American market. They're a constant currency manipulator. Recently, in the last couple days, they have liquidated some treasury bonds to get some liquid cash. They've also, within the last 2 days, put $22 billion in stimulus into Chinese banks to loan out money to stimulate their economy. I guess the United States is not all about, we're not the only ones that do quantitative easing. They're doing the same thing as well through their central banking system. But they're talking about this Chinese stock market right now is mirroring the 1929 U.S. stock market crash. You're seeing these flashes of up, down, dramatic moves. I think last couple weeks, Bill, I saw a move from a Chinese market. It was down like 500, then it closed up 300. Dramatic 800-point moves. We had a dramatic move like that yesterday in our market as well. It was up 300 and down 500. So we see these dramatic changes. And our economies are so intertwined right now with Chinese manufacturing. If the United States is not buying Chinese products, then the manufacturing sector in China is suffering, which if the Chinese government manufacturing sector is actually suffering, that means that they're not producing goods, which means they have less, they need less gas, less diesel, less fossil fuels. So that means the overall economic need for fossil fuels is going down, which we're seeing right now, folks. We're seeing a dramatic crash in gasoline prices right now. We're looking at gasoline prices nearing $2 a gallon in the United States. Kind of unheard of. The last time we saw this type of situation was back in 2008, 2009 during the last market correction with the housing market. This market right now I see is a bubble of easy money. The Fed has pumped in over $1 trillion a year into our economy through, and I'll explain it. And Bill, give me a second. I'm sorry if I'm rambling on. There's just so much here that the folks need to understand. We're looking at trillions of dollars of money put into the economy. If you haven't realized, folks, the show is down. Oh, the show's down? Oh, of course. I guess Blog Talk Radio is down right now, folks. Bill, are you there right now? All right. It looks like we're down right now on our end. Bill, you there, buddy? Okay, we are down, and we're going to get Bill on manually because that's what we do here. We're gonna do old school style. We're gonna go ahead and connect him for the last segment of the show. And folks, I sincerely apologize about this. I mean, this is not how we want to do the show, but technical difficulties do occur. So if you want to watch the show on the video side, I'm doing a simulcast recording of it, so you'll be able to see it on BrowerReport.com in a little bit.
Hey,
there he is. All right.
There he is, making a difference.
Making a difference every day on the Brower Report.
Every day.
All right.
So what's
okay.
That was kind of fun.
Yeah. So what I was trying to explain to the folks, and they got to understand, all the trillions of dollars that we put into the economy has caused a dollar bubble. I'm calling it a dollar bubble, a stock market bubble, because of people were flocking to the stock market because they needed the ability to make money. When interest rates are very low, they don't go into CDs, they don't go into bonds, they go into the stock market, the crazy stock market that crashes about every 7 years. So people got to realize the stimulus package that was passed between the Bush administration and the Obama administration, they didn't pass any new budgets for several years. So that $787 billion to $1 trillion a year was actually baseline budgeted every year. So those shovel-ready jobs that never came about were actually, that money was baseline budgeted every year. So you know that big, huge debt that we've accumulated over the years, Bill? That's because it was $1 trillion a year over budget. And what do we get from it? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. We get a fake, inflated stock market out of it, where people are very easily manipulated, saying, "Oh, the stock market's great, Bill. What are you talking about, Matt? What are you talking about, Steven? You're nuts. You're crazy. Stock market's awesome. I mean, people are making money." He's like Wolf of Wall Street style. You know, we're selling penny stocks. We're selling all this stuff that looks like it's like really great stuff. There's some good companies out there, but the issue at the end of the day is they're overinflated. The pricing is way too much. Now we're seeing these corrections, and at the end of the day, the Chinese market, they're struggling. They're struggling in manufacturing. If they don't manufacture, they don't need fossil fuels. So we're seeing a correlation. Some of the correlation of 2008 stock crash is happening right before our eyes. If we don't realize this and acknowledge there is a problem, we're going to have a major market correction. And who suffers the most, Bill, at the end of the day? The retirees and people nearing retirement suffer the most, because we're young. We're relatively young here, Bill. We can actually, get through this.
We can weather the storm. And the funny thing is, didn't Obama say back in 2008, 2009 that the low gas prices was a sign of a weak economy?
Oh, Bill! But the most transparent administration in the history of the world would never lie to us, Bill.
I know, but look at it now.
Don't bring up history or facts, Bill.
218 today. I was like, whoa, look at that.
Don't bring that up, Bill, because Obama will just say, "I don't know what you're talking. I didn't say that." But they just show him a video of it, he'll still deny it. He's in denial. He might as well go to Egypt to go to the Nile River because he's in denial.
The Nile River.
The Nile River. It flows through Washington, D.C. They're always in the Nile River because the Nile River flows through everything in D.C.
It's the freaking Modor in the Potomac, man.
Yes. It's terrible. And the Obama administration, as you have clearly noticed, they are not taking any credit for the gasoline prices. Have you noticed that, Bill? Not taking any credit.
No, because they know. They know it's crap.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. And the presidential candidates out there now, nobody's talking about it. We're in deep crap right now.
Yeah. It's bad right now.
We're in deep crap. I mean, you got Trump out there. Well, I don't know if he's a liberal, conservative, or just a Trumponian or whatever he is. That is bringing up the masses, because they say he's angry.
Yeah.
People are flocking to him, but nobody else has passion. You got criminal Hillary, you got socialist Bernie Sanders, who's not even a Democrat, he's an independent.
Yep.
Goofball Al Gore, if he jumps in, heaven forbid.
Yep.
Got locked. I mean, I don't know. It's a joke. And we need somebody out there that is going to follow the Constitution and do what's right and get our country back again. But the way the political climate is, the division in this country is so great. Even whoever gets in there next is still not going to matter.
Okay.
You got the Democrats and Democrat-light and the Republican Party.
Okay, let's talk about Bernie Sanders for a second. After Bernie Sanders, I want to go to the feel-good story of the night. It's kind of a not so feel-good at the beginning, but you'll feel good at the end kind of story. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit on the show. Okay, Bernie Sanders, you just mentioned him. He says he's a socialist. That's what he is.
Yeah.
He's an independent in the Senate. And he caucuses with the Democrats. But the Democrat Party is so crazy, they allow him to run in their primary. Which I think at the end of the day, they may just pull if he wins and he goes to the convention, I think they would actually override that one, because they're going to say, "Sorry, Bernie, you're an independent. You can't play in our sandbox anymore, and we'll put somebody else up." I could see that happening on their end. But Bernie Sanders has a problem with trying to get the black vote, apparently. Here's the thing. I do the Brown Report Challenge tonight. Go watch C-SPAN, and I know you might fall asleep watching it. I do watch it occasionally, too, if I need to go to bed early. Go to C-SPAN and watch Bernie Sanders' events. He's getting no black people to show up. And they're talking about the Democrat Party is the party of blacks, African Americans. The last time I checked, Bernie Sanders is an old white guy in his 70s that can't barely comb his hair. And the guy is a self-proclaimed socialist. He wants to give away stuff and take money from other people when we don't have any money to pay for the things that we're doing right now. That's
They
crazy.
call the Republican Party the party of old white people.
Oh, but all we get is old white people running the Democrat Party.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And we've got a Ben Carson, and we got Carly Fiorina, and what does the Democrat Party have? A bunch of old white men and one old white woman that wears pantsuits. I mean,
She's a witch and she screams. So.
yeah. So I mean, this is how crazy the Democrat Party is. They are the party of crazy right now. You might have 16 or 17 candidates for Republican primary, but I can tell you right now, I look at all those candidates, they are by far more qualified, going down to even to Gilmore. And I mean, Gilmore's only getting 1% of the vote of any polling. But if you go down the line, they're much more qualified than the people that are running the Democrat side. That's scary stuff. They're thinking about putting up retreads like John Kerry and Al Gore. That's a sign of complete desperation.
Oh my God. I couldn't even, I would probably hang myself if I had to watch Lurch, Lockbox, Pantsuit, and Socialist in a debate.
And O'Malley.
O'Malley, he could play guitar, maybe he'll lighten things up and whatever, but he's pissed off too. Bernie Sanders is pissed off.
Yeah.
I mean, the DNC is in shambles. They can't. And if you look at the Republican side, you got Spanish. Jindal is Indian heritage. You got a black guy. You got a female. You got a wide range of age groups and experiences, and we're mocked.
Okay, here's the thing, and I want the people to go to the facebook.com/Brow Report page. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post right now the link to the Blaze article, because I think this is very important that people see this. I'm going to post it right now, and you're going to see. I want you to go to that article if you can, or go after the show. You're going to scroll down to about the end. You're going to see this. I guess there's a YouTube video there. Bernie Sanders rally in Charleston, South Carolina. I think I might see 2 black people on the right-hand corner. I think. I can guarantee one is. I don't know if the other one is because they're kind of in the corner. But the rest of them are pretty much young white people. And what do these young white people want? They want free stuff.
They want stuff.
They want free stuff. They want free college. Here's the thing. Even if you got college nowadays, Bill, and I can see, and there's a lot of people out there got bachelor's degrees and master's degrees, they can't find work. So what is that college really giving you anyways right now? Nothing.
And I look at the corporate atmosphere and the work ethic of today's generation. It's the me society. Why am I not promoted? Why can't I be an executive? You know, it's across the board in all major corporations. They think they're entitled to things, and I don't know if it's generational where the parents of today's kids. I didn't get a lot of stuff when I was growing up. You know, I was born in the 70s. My dad was in and out of work. My mother was in and out of work. And, you know, we appreciate what we got. So I don't know if today's generation of parents, and I can be guilty of this too, I want to please my kids. But, you know, we instill discipline and you have to earn it and things of that nature, but a lot of people don't. So they want to be the complete opposite of what their parents were. So these kids that are going through college now, 18, 19, 20, even in the mid-20s, are so used to getting their way, getting their stuff, having all the bells and whistles. They're getting the iPhone 6s when they were like 12 years old. Mm-hmm. And it's something that, you know, we're at fault as well for conditioning that behavior. So I don't know if an absolute reset happens where it gets to a point of pain that it could be better off a generation down the road, not for us, but a generation down the road to start appreciating things and moving forward in a better direction. So, I don't know. I agree with you. The hypocrisy of the Democratic Party, of how they treat, call Republicans racist and a party of white people and the rich. I'm not rich. I'm white, but I'm not a rich guy. I'm a Republican because I understand that you have to work hard and do stuff and get if you want stuff. And the Democrats are so conditioned. They're not the same Democratic Party as, 15, 20, 30 years ago. And I think Stephen was, I was talking to somebody at work, and, they would never vote for a Republican, ever. And because they're so conditioned just to vote Democrat. Now, I go to the voting booth, I vote for a candidate. I voted for Democrats. I voted for independent. There's Republicans I voted for, so it's not, to me, it's not party, it's about principle, and if somebody has a good message and they stick to their guns, I'll vote for that. And I think that's, my generation, my age group, understands that versus the kids of today, the younger adults of today. And it's going to take a while for that to wash out, for them to feel the pain, for them to understand that life is not easy, life's not fair, it does suck sometimes, and whenever they feel that, they might start realizing, hey, there's no free lunch.
There isn't. And
there's never a free lunch.
And here's the thing. If we don't vote for somebody that gets it, now I'm not saying who to vote for. We're in the media here, Bill, and a lot of the people that are part of the show. I'm not telling anybody who to vote for. I'm just saying make an educated vote. Don't just vote for someone with catchy slogans. Looks really good in a suit, talks really well in a teleprompter, promises the world with no real plan. We've voted for those kind of people for way too long. It's time to change the way we do things. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, that's the definition of insanity, folks.
That's why Trump is doing so well right now.
Exactly. He may not be the right guy, but right now his message is resonating through a lot of people. There's polls saying that he's got 40% right now. 40%. And I'm telling you right now, if he goes through and wins Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Florida, I mean, there's going to be some that stick around because you'll see 10 of them drop off like almost immediately. Because there's no point. There's no point in continuing because the guy's so far ahead. And what they'll do is some of them will say, I'll drop out, I'll endorse somebody. That's what's going to happen. But there's a lot of theories going around that Trump and Cruz like each other. They don't attack each other. Trump with Cruz, hey, that could be the mark where you see them going together and say Trump's going to get close to the nomination. Cruz is like, I'll drop out now. I'm going to finish second anyways. I'll give you my full endorsement. You put me on the ticket, and we will win this thing. That might be what it's going to take.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
And there's a lot of good candidates up there. I will be very happy with the selection that we have right now. I'll be pretty happy with what we got up there, with the exception of a few. Don't want to name them. Don't want to say I'm completely against them. There's a few up there I don't think that would do very well as president by their voting records, by their actions. So we'll see. We'll see. But and I want to apologize to the folks on Periscope if you were watching listening to the Blog Talk Radio show 2 nights in a row, folks. Not our fault. All of a sudden we go down. Bill's gone. I had to call him his rotary phone.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy. He even had his wind-up phone. So, technical difficulties happen, especially on the internet. But the Periscope app is really awesome. So if you missed any of the show, I'm going to, and because the people, guess what, Bill? If they demand it, what do we do at the Brow Report?
We'll give it to them.
We'll give it to them. So we're going to post the video of the show on browreport.com. I'm going to upload it to YouTube for y'all. Put it on there. But do me a favor. I've never done it before, so I apologize. I'm getting used to this YouTube thing because people demanded it. I'm going to learn it. I'm going to do it. We're going to put it on YouTube. We're going to link it to the BrowerReport.com page. We're going to share it on the Facebook page. So please share it with people. Share it. Because I think we got a lot of good information on the show. We're not controlled by major media. We're not controlled by millionaires and billionaires. We'll give it to you straight from the heart, straight from our knowledge, from a perspective that you're not going to get on the major media networks. But before you go, Bill, I want to say thanks for bearing with me tonight, man. I appreciate it.
It's fun. It's always a blast. I can't wait to see you next week.
All right, man. You have a great night.
You too. Good night.
All right. Bill Setterberg, co-host of the Wednesday night edition of the show. I want to say thanks so much for him for bearing with me. And Steven in the studio, thank you. You're a tremendous asset to the show as well, and all the co-hosts and all the people behind the scenes. I would not be able to do this without all of you. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. The feel-good story of the night, because why? The people demand the feel-good story, so I get them the feel-good story. That's what we do on the Brower Report. IndyCar driver Justin Wilson saved 6 lives by donating his organs. Tragic accident. IndyCar open wheel racing, they call it. A piece of debris hits him and kills him. After racing. It says Justin Wilson died Monday night from a head injury suffered when a piece of debris struck him at Pocono Raceway. His brother said he has donated organs to 6 people. All right. An absolute tragedy. Young man, I'm not saying too young. He was 37. He's about my age. Young in terms. Died Monday from a head injury suffered when a piece of debris struck him at Pocono Raceway. He was a Formula One driver from England who lived in Colorado. Wilson was hit in the head during Sunday's race by a piece of debris from another car. Wilson's car veered into an interior wall at the track. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Just a little backstory on this guy. He wanted to race really bad. So I guess they said he was selling shares of a race team to raise money so he can race cars. So this guy started from the bottom, worked his way to the top, won a bunch of races, and unfortunately, it's the nature of racing. Dale Earnhardt Sr. died like this. Not like this, but he did die in an auto accident. Davey Allison. If you remember Davey Allison, I mean, you're around the 90s. Many other race car drivers have died. They know the inherent risk. And I'm not saying that it's just tragic all the way around. When you see these guys taken from us so early in their lives. I mean, most guys lived in their 70s, 80s, even 90s. He died at 37 years old doing what he loved. He loved racing cars. So after he died, 6 people's lives were saved. 1 tragedy and 6 miracles occurred from this. If you're not an organ donor, you might want to consider doing this. I don't know if you may have religious implications that you can't do it, but I just want to say kudos to him in the foresight to say, I want to be able to save other people's lives in case something happens to me. And just amazing. We go from a tragedy today with 2 innocent people being shot and killed live on TV to a feel-good story where an accident happens on a racetrack and 6 people are saved from a guy that had the foresight to say, if something does happen, I understand, and people are going to be saved. So, heavy stuff, folks. Really heavy stuff. We talked about a lot of stuff tonight on the show. And, folks, we got a chance in this country to make it great again. I'm not trying to endorse Donald Trump by any means, folks. But we've got an election. There are good people running for office. Now, are they perfect? No. Do they walk on water like Jesus? No. Do they have any mistakes? Yes. Are they perfect? No. What we got to do is find the best qualified person that can do the job. It's like an interview process. If you run a business or have been a part of a business or interview process, you don't pick the most slick talking person that has like no resume, or the person that doesn't speak that well but has an impressive resume. You have to go through the process and find out who the most qualified person is that can get the job done. And that's what we're at this point, 2016 election cycle. Who is going to be that person that's going to bring us away from the brink of destruction in this country? Who's going to say, we're going to stop meddling the financial system? Because you know what's happened, folks? When we have the government meddling in these situations, it never fixes it. Have you ever noticed that? That every time the government gets involved and tries to create new legislation or new rules and creates new fines and new penalties, it never gets fixed. It happens again and again and again. So why do we continue to do it? We have CEOs in this country that completely just hosed up the financial system in 2008 with the push of the government to give bad loans. The government said, if you do not make these they didn't say bad loans, but I'm just saying it for dramatic purposes. If you don't do these bad loans to these uncreditworthy people, we won't give you money through loans to loan to the people that are good credit risk. That's insanity, folks. That's insanity. We cannot continue to do this. If we continue to do stupid stuff like this, who suffers the most? Think about it. The people that are retired, the people that are financially vulnerable, and people in the middle class, and the poor. The people at the top, they're good. The millionaires and billionaires, they're good. They got financial resources to keep themselves up. But who suffers the most? The people that get taken advantage the most. That's what happens. Sad stuff, folks. Sad stuff. But I think we can turn it around. Because there's people that watch the show tonight on Periscope. There's people that listen to Blog Talk Radio when it actually works. I know, we laugh about it tonight. Ha 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 ha. There's people that go to the website, browerport.com, and facebook.com/browerport. They follow me on Twitter. Not just me, but everybody on the Brower Report team continues to push to make our country great again. Not a Donald Trump endorsement. I'm not wearing the Make America Great Again hat tonight. But I've been saying this for years through my dealings of online media. We can do this. We built the Twin Towers. We won World War I, World War II. We destroyed fascism. We destroyed socialism, communism. We destroyed communism without having a war with the Soviet Union. We can do these things, but we got to be smart about these things again. We cannot continue to go down this path of socialism. And they'll say, there's no socialism in this. Yeah, I get that. I'm not stupid. Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, yeah, socialism. I get that. But you can't get rid of Medicare and Social Security now. It's so intertwined into all these people. We're not going to let them suffer because of some stupid FDR ideas or some stupid left-wing kooky ideas. We're not going to leave them behind. Can we fix it? Yes, we can. We can fix this country. But it's going to take some real leadership and some pain. It's going to take some time. Can we fix it? Yeah, we can fix it. But it's going to take all of us together. We're in this together. We're Americans. If we don't do it, our kids, our grandkids, this is not campaign speech, but they're going to suffer the most. Because right now, we're kind of okay. But you got to look at the future. I've got kids. They're young. I look at their futures like, I'm scared for them the most. I'm an adult. I see it. But the most vulnerable are children. They don't see it yet. They don't see it. And a lot of adults that have kids don't see it either because they're blinded by the system. Once you break out of the system and you open your eyes and realize what's going on, how you're being manipulated, boy, oh boy, you'll get pissed off. So tell the folks about the Brown Report. We're going to give it to you straight every time. Every time, I guarantee. Thanks so much for watching on Periscope app. Thank you. Thanks for visiting the website and the Facebook page. Millions of people have seen our posts. Amazing, amazing stuff. So we're going to go tonight. I appreciate you watching tonight. We really do appreciate it. I can't tell you enough how much we appreciate it. We really do. And we'll be back live tomorrow night with Barry Seacrest. Hopefully blogtalkradio.com will be up. We're, fingers crossed, praying that'll be up for Barry Seacrest. If not, we will do the Periscope app, and we will get Barry on the phone on my end so you can hear Barry Seacrest and all his knowledge from conservativerefocus.com. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great night. And God bless America.